All right, I am going to be talking about Becky Chambers' Monk and Robot series. We read A Song for the Wild Built in class. I wanted to further explore the themes of empathy, compassion, and belonging, and see how Chambers expanded those into the second book, A Prayer for the Crown Shy. So, Becky Chambers' Monk and Robot series is made up of 2 novels. In the first book, Psalm for the Wild Built, Moscap the robot helps T-Monk sibling Dex navigate through the wilds as they go on a journey looking for their personal purpose and find a sense of belonging. The dynamic between the pair becomes established, with Moscap having more knowledge of the lifestyle in the wilds, and Dex left with many questions. In A Prayer for the Crown Shy, however, Dex takes the lead on their journey as they venture into human civilization. Becky Chambers further develops these established themes of empathy, compassion, and sense of belonging by flipping the roles between Moscap and Dex in the second book. And these main roles we're talking about is the dynamic between the two. They kind of take like a seeker versus teacher role, and teacher I mean more of like a navigator, like a guide throughout the book. In A Psalm for the Wild Built, the first book we read, Dex decides to leave the human civilization of Panga to go on a personal journey and discover their purpose in life, motivated by a desire to hear crickets at a hermitage located deep in the wilds. Crickets are extinct throughout Panga, and there is no guarantee that they are still out there in the wilds, but Dex is determined to hear them in person, and this motivation really just comes from their need to be away from society and to be alone with their thoughts in order to discover their personal purpose in life. Their first night out out of civilization, however, they're approached by a robot named Splendid Speckled Moscap, or Moscap for short. Humans and robots hadn't interacted with each other for generations prior to this encounter, so it was very shocking for Dex, and also a bit unnerving for Moscap as well. Moscap makes this contact with them to learn about how humans have been getting along since the robots declared independence many years ago. It volunteered to gather information to bring back to the other robots. Moscap inquires about what Dex is doing out in the wilds, and after learning, it offers to take them to their destination in exchange for information about human customs and how they're living now. Dex is hesitant at first, but agrees after realizing just how knowledgeable Moscap is about the wilds. The turning point in Dex's decision was actually after a bear showed up to their campsite and ate the food they had left out. And Moscap was very excited about the encounter, loving to experience and learn about animals. Dex realized that the bear was the symbol of Chal, their deity. They take it as a sign that they should travel with Moscap. This is also the very first demonstration in the series of the dynamic between the two, showing the difference in their personalities, alludes to the different roles they each will play as the stories develop. The dynamic that forms between the unlikely pair takes some time to develop. Moscap is an eager guide with an abundance of knowledge of wildlife, while Dex initially resists the idea of having company on their journey. They felt that they needed to travel in solitude in order to finally, truly find their purpose. That was the whole point of them leaving Panga. They wanted to be alone. In reality, however, Moscap is the one that helps them begin to understand that sense of belonging, as well as finally be on the receiving end of compassion and empathy. Dex's vocation as a T-Monk meant that they listened to many stories and provided comfort for others, but felt that no one was there to comfort them. They felt like they didn't belong in their society, and it felt hypocritical of them to reassure others that they're doing their best and doing the right thing when they don't even feel like they themselves are. While Moscap took the lead in navigating in the first novel, the roles are flipped in A Prayer for the Crown Shy. Dex and Moscap travel into Panga so that Moscap can talk to humans and ask them its question, "What do you need?" The original agreement was that they would go their separate ways after making it to the Hermitage and back, but as Dex got to know Moscap better, they wanted to do more to help it answer its question. They formed a very close bond in the first novel. Traveling alone together, they had a lot of time to talk to each other, and Dex shared their feelings with Moscap about feeling like they have no purpose. They really opened up to Moscap, and that was actually the first person that they had done that for. Realizing the similarities they shared through their different experiences, they found themselves relating to Moscap and wanting to help it more in its journey. Being a tea monk, they have lots of knowledge and experience about traveling between cities. So they help Moscap navigate the various cities and facilitate meetings within those different cities because everyone's really excited to see a robot and get to know it. Dex takes the lead in this portion of their journey together, demonstrating their growth and newfound confidence that develops in the first novel. In turn, Moscap takes the role Dex once had, learning to navigate human civilizations and feel a sense of belonging. Chambers uses this shift in dynamic to demonstrate and further develop the central themes of compassion, empathy, and belonging. In this novel, Moscap is the one that feels out of place, having never been in human civilizations before. It doesn't know how to interact with others at first. It has to learn from Dex. While feeling separated from human society, it also feels separate from its own people, struggling to find an identity between the two. When a part that helps with their balance breaks apart inside of them, they become nervous about getting it replaced with materials other than what was previously used for robots. The robots, centuries ago, decided that they would allow themselves to break down and have their parts be used for new generations in order to follow the life cycle that the gods had created. Moscap struggled with the idea of having its part fixed because it felt like it was going against the rules that were created or cheating life by prolonging its life. Dex explains that they have fillings, ceramic parts in their teeth, and even though that some parts of them aren't organic, they are still the same person they were before, and it doesn't change who they are now. Moscap eventually decides to have its original part melted down and reprinted so that it had no physical materials separating it from its people, because it had already felt so othered. This inner turmoil is used to further demonstrate the change in dynamic between the two, showing that Moscap now feels like Dex did when they were in the wilds. The most effective way Chambers develops these central themes is through the development of Dex, more specifically, their ability to apply what they've learned about empathy and compassion from Moscap into human society, as well as onto Moscap itself. Moscap experiences human life as an outsider and often struggles to feel like it is gathering the right information from people. It gets different types of answers, some philosophical, some quick and material, but none of them were exactly what it was expecting or assuming it would hear. It begins to feel unsure of its mission entirely after meeting Dex's family, when Dex's father asks it its own question. It realizes it doesn't have an answer, and wonders how it can ask humans a question it can't even answer itself. Dex reiterates that they are feeling the same way, that they struggle with telling people that they are fine, as they are, when they don't believe that they are themselves. This application of empathy and understanding is utilized to further develop Chambers' themes of belonging that comes from companionship. Although the pair often have internal struggles, they both share them, giving them a deeper understanding of each other. This companionship, in turn, gives them both a sense of belonging. It's the same principle of the phrase, being alone together. They both feel othered from their respective societies, but coming together and expressing the same feelings, they feel a little less alone in the world. By meeting each other, they discover that they aren't the only ones in the world struggling to feel like they belong. By traveling together and learning from one another, both Moscap and Dex evolve and learn to feel more comfortable with their identities. Dex goes from an outsider searching for purpose to a leader navigating their friend through Panga for its mission. Moscap steps out of its comfort zone in the name of education and learns that it will always be connected to its people. The themes of empathy, compassion, and belonging are intertwined within both novels through their relationship and the changing dynamics between them. The role reversal used between novels was to deepen the reinforcement of these themes, creating new aspects of them and demonstrating change and development of both characters. Becky Chambers' Monk and Robot series successfully expands and deepens these themes of empathy, compassion, and belonging, and especially in the second novel. Through contrasting the roles of Moscap and Dex, Chambers explores the complexity of these themes by weaving them through the characters' journeys, both personal and together.